is a community of practice. This is a community of practice. We really love when everyone participates and really shares their ideas. And we love Echo because it's just a chance for people to learn from each other, even when we're not always near each other. So for our components of the Echo session, we will have the didactic speaker, then we will have the real situations, real solutions presentation and discussion, and then community of practice, where we will go into breakout groups and discuss a little bit in smaller groups. We ask that you protect individual privacy. If you're sharing any information about someone else, please avoid using any real names and de-identify any people or situations. We ask that you rename your Zoom profile just so we can keep track of who you all are. If you want to rename your profile to your name and your organization, that would be great. And if you need help with that, feel free to reach out to me or Faustine. Throughout the presentation, you're welcome to put any questions or comments into the chat. Me and Faustine will be monitoring that and making sure that Debbie, the presenter, will see all of those. You can also raise your hand or just go off mute if you have any questions or comments. You do get a certificate of attendance for attending today. All that we ask is that you fill out the feedback survey and we will send a certificate to you. So the feedback survey, the link for that will be sent into the chat a couple different times throughout the session, and we'll make sure to email that survey to you afterwards. This is helpful for us to know what we need to be changing in the future, what other topics you would like to see, and how we can make this Echo better for everyone. We have a Canvas and a website, and both of these have all of our past sessions on them. So if there's any that you missed or any that you wanted to look back on, you are welcome to go and review those again. We have all of our videos posted up on YouTube. So if you have any trouble accessing the Canvas, please reach out to Faustine, and her email is on here. So for our Real Situations, Real Solutions presentation, if you have a program or a provider who is struggling in any way and would like feedback from this community, please let us know. We'd love to have you present and be able to get that feedback. Our next session will be on January 27th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. and it will be all about stepping stones to special education, a preschool's referral blueprint. And this will be taught by Chelsea Oakes with the school board. And so this will be really helpful for providers, parents, anyone that wants to learn more about that referral process for special education. And then our session presenter today is Debbie Ballard. She is an amazing presenter and she works with a bunch of programs right now. And so we're so excited to have her present today. And she'll be presenting on infant-toddler activity transitions in the classroom. So with that, I will go ahead and turn the time over to Debbie. And thank you all for joining today.
Thank you, Hannah. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to be here with you today and talking about transitions, infant-toddler transitions, which can be a real challenge. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and don't judge because it's a mess. And I am going to pull up transitions here. I'm excited to be here with you today, and I want you guys to know that I expect participation. So don't be shy. We all are here together learning. What I like is you can use the chat or come off mute when I ask for questions or participation. We will be singing a couple of songs together. So hopefully you get your song voice on because I can't carry a tune. So hopefully you guys will. But we're going to take time today to talk about infant-toddler transition. And this is transitions from every activity that we do in our classroom. So this is the times of change that occur throughout the child's day, from group to individual play, any experiences that require the children to get up and move to a different activity is what we're going to be talking about today. So with that in mind, I want you guys to think about the transition of infant toddlers. It happens throughout the day. And we want to be very mindful of how many we have in the day because it can get overwhelming for you and for children if we have, transitions that occur real frequently. I mean, we know they're going to happen, but trying to, have a good chunk of the day where they're playing so that it doesn't seem like we're transitioning a million times throughout the day. But when we look at transition, these are a series of transitions that allow for opportunities that help support that social emotional learning. Trying to get kids from point A to point B can be a real challenge. So hopefully you walk away today with some good strategies that will help you with that transition. So when you look at this slide, we have our arrival time. So having that transition from our parents as they drop off can be one of the most challenging times, right? Where, taking that separation from mom or dad or grandma, whoever is the drop off person, that playtime, going from arrival to playtime, then from playtime to diaper change, from diaper change to cleanup, from cleanup to outside, from outside for another diaper change, nap, diaper change, and snack. So when you think about looking at this, and then of course going home, there are so many opportunities here that if we don't have effective transitions for each one of these, if we are doing things to kids instead of doing things with kids in that transition. So think about a diaper change. If you just pick up a child and say, it's time for a diaper change, but there's no warning, there's no indication what's going to happen or what take place, we may have big emotions for that. They may be really enjoying what they're doing, and then we just pick up a child and take them to get their diaper changed and then plop them back down where they were without having that discussion or giving them warning that a change is going to happen. We may have those opportunities for those big emotions to take place. So we want to make sure we're always transitioning with the children in mind, not to them, so that we are giving that fair warning that there's many opportunities to just enhance that social emotional time during those transitions where we're reinforcing, we're giving ample warning that a transition is going to take place so that we can help that smooth transition without too many big emotions. There's always going to be some because we're working with infants and toddlers, right? That is just part of their day, as being that inconsistency of where they are. Some days transitions run really smoothly and other days they don't. But if we build into our day what a transition might look like and kids can anticipate that's happening, we're going to be much more successful. So here is a toddler greenie. I'm going to start right off with a video of a parent drop off, and how this teacher incorporates an activity for parents. So it's the same every day. Kids come in, they have an activity with mom or dad or grandma or whoever's dropping off in preparation for them to leave. We never, ever want to say to a parent or have a parent say to us, I'm just going to sneak out. That is not a healthy way to make a transition. We need to give children warnings that mom is going to leave and she's going to come back after snack or back after nap time or whatever that transition might be. And we might have a picture at the end of the day, at the end of your routine and schedule, a picture of a family saying that they're going to come back after that. So I want you to take a look and see what and I'm going to ask for some feedback, so be prepared. What do you see this caregiver doing to make this morning transition easier? So we're going to go ahead and watch the video.
Hi, Ryan. Do you want to show Dad how you're feeling? Whoa.
Hey, where do you put it? Here?
You do feel happy. I see your smile. He's making the movie today, Ryan. You want to show him how you can throw the bean bags in from far away? Which colors do you want? We even have Bronco colors today.
Awesome.
Which color do you want to throw?
Toss in the bucket.
Are you feeling shy today?
The shot now. You're gonna add a shot.
Maybe. You don't have to do it, Ryan. Would you like to go pick your job?
Okay, what strategies did the parent and the teacher use to make this transition smoother? You can see that Ryan struggled a little bit. He wanted to cling to dad, but how did dad and teacher encourage Ryan to participate in the transition? You can come off mute or type in the chat, and I'll wait for a response. And Hannah and Faustine, when you get something in the chat, just let me know. Feel free to come off mute if you guys want to, while we're waiting for responses in the chat.
Liana from Wonder Bloom. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, I noticed that the teacher was super inviting and got down on the child's level. And then she also was like, made a comment about Bronco colors. Like she knows this child, she knows what this family likes. And so having that relationship is really important too. And like talking to kids about that.
Yeah, Leanna, I love how you said, you pointed it out, and it was a note I wrote for myself, is that she pointed out the Bronco colors. She knew this family liked the Denver Broncos, right? She commented on that. So she is building that relationship with that family in that separation. So and she was totally involved and engaged. I love that. Hannah, do you have something in the chat?
Yes, so we had Janice said that they were on the child's level and there was the activity that the child could participate with choice. And then Trevor said that dad stayed for an emotional support at the level with child, mentioned it was okay that he was shy.
Yeah, it's okay to be shy, and we validate those emotions, right? As kids, I can see you're upset that your mom is leaving, or I can see that you're shy today. Do you want to go ahead and choose your job? She gave a choice. She didn't grab the child's hand and take him over to that choice board, right? She let Ryan make that decision by himself. So that's excellent. They participated together in that separation. So why do you think that works? Why do you feel like Ryan got brave and he went to his choice board? Why is that working in that transition? What happened to make that magic happen?
We have a couple more comments in the chat while people are
Okay.
thinking about that question. But Donna said that the teacher asked the child to choose a job. Markel said they implemented an arrival feeling chart, having a relationship and interacted with the child from the start. And Jalea said the teacher and the parent both interacted with Ryan by getting on his level, asking him questions about how he's feeling, getting him to throw a color beanbag based on the Broncos.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely right on. So when we get down on the child's level, right, we're not standing above the child, we are at his level. Both the teacher and dad were encouraging and allowed him to be shy, allowed him to warm up. We weren't doing things to Ryan, we were doing things with Ryan, right? And I think when we see some pushback with transitions is when we don't give them time, especially in this birth to 3 range, when we give them time to warm up and we take the time for that engagement, and children feel that sense of trust. Like my teacher knows my dad is a Bronco fan, right? I mean, that is going to help that encouragement with that time for transition. Could anybody think of anything that they might implement in their classroom, or what do you already do with that separation in your classrooms, or that you've seen happen? Would anybody like to share something that they do with their families to help with that transition from parents? Is there anything? Come off mute. We'd love to hear your beautiful voices. Or go ahead and type in the chat if there's something that you've noticed your teachers doing. We're going to learn together today, so we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Also, someone from Little Minds Academy.
Hannah, anything coming in?
I have a couple comments on the last question, but
Okay,
nothing new yet.
Okay, go ahead. Give me the comments are coming in.
Okay, some people have been saying in the chat that the teachers and parents showed the child that they knew each other and had that relationship with each other, and it's not just this random stranger. And then the child was given the freedom to decide what he wanted to do. He wasn't pushed.
Yeah, I love that. So we'll go ahead.
Ryan, do you want to show Dad how you're feeling?
Whoops. I'm going to show, so this is the kind of thing that we want to see with the effective transition. And Hannah, if anything comes in, we'll address that during this slide. But as far as effective transitions go, we want to make sure that we keep children engaged in that transition. And I feel like that teacher and dad did a really good job of keeping Ryan engaged. When we do that, we decrease the likelihood of a challenging behavior or a separation problem, because the kids are seeing us work with moms at a transition. When we do not acknowledge that moms or dads have entered the classroom to drop kids off, and we're in our day trying to get the classroom ready, then we are possibly going to see those challenging behaviors. But when we engage with families in that separation, it really helps. Or when we go from one activity to the other, helping keep kids engaged in that transition really supports the whole class in making those strategies. We want to have those strategies built in for every transition. Like, what are we doing to warn kids that we're going to do a diaper change? What are we doing to let them know we're going to finish playing and going outside? What are we doing to warn them that now a nap time is coming? What we need to build those activities into our transitions just as frequently as we have to have our routines and schedules in place. This is part of your routine and schedule when we build those transitions into our day. And we need to have strategies that support individual children. You're going to have children who transition really well, and you're going to have children that really struggle giving up playtime or going to that nap time. So what strategies are we building in to support just individual children, and knowing that some days it's going to be completely different children that give us trauma over those transitions. It's never going to be always the same child. So really having those individual strategies built into your schedule and routine is really important. And the key here is limited wait time. So especially with our birth to 3 children, we do not want to have a transition where they're going somewhere and we're waiting for all the children to get there before we do an activity, because then that wait time too, and birth, the 2-year-olds don't wait, and they don't wait well. So what strategies are we putting in place to eliminate that wait time? That's a really important thing. And sometimes with those transitions, what I see as I'm making observation in classrooms is that there's big wait times, have something for the children to do if they get there before all the other kids. A simple little, stacking a block or stringing a bead or, some sort of little transition object that they put in a bucket. We want to make sure that we keep them busy without wait time, with just giving that limited wait time. So when we're thinking about greetings and goodbyes,
Hey, Debbie,
yes, go ahead.
real fast before you move on, I just had one comment in the chat I wanted to read.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so one thing I would do with parents is get to know their name, ask them about their weekend or if they went on a trip. Also letting the child talk about their weekend or trips. Another thing is with parents asking them what they expect from me for the year and what they want their child to learn as well.
Yes, that fits right into this slide, Hannah. So when we're thinking, so thank you guys for using the chat. It just makes my job so much easier and I don't feel like I'm talking to myself, because over Zoom, it's a little more challenging if you don't get responses back. So thank you for participating. But what I want to say is that when we're thinking about, so that last person who commented, getting to know the parents' names is critical. When we say, hi, Samantha, it's so good to see you. I thank you for bringing Cody to school today, whatever it might be, that is a good way to start that separation process. When we know the names of the children and the family members that are greeting or saying goodbye to, we want to make sure that when we're accepting children for the day, that maybe we have a special arrival area. So when you saw the teacher in the video before, she had a special area where the children go and they hang up a picture of how they're feeling today. So Cody was able to say he was feeling happy today, and he was able to stick that on the wall. That's a special arrival area. And then we want to have a goodbye area where we can receive families and say goodbye with a good song or something, anything that we can do to make the parents feel welcome, talk about our day. We had a great day, where we can really have those conversations. Because remember, in the beginning, it's all about relationships, so that when we build those relationships, kids feel safe. When we build those relationships with families, we might want to have in that special arrival area or goodbye area or by our book area, family photos, where when we have a child who's having a bad day or having a hard time separating from mom, maybe they can go and look at a picture of their mom, and you can talk about when mom will be back. She's going to be back after snack or wherever that might be. But sometimes having that photo, I know for me as a young mom dropping my children off at childcare, I always had a little photo album of our family in the diaper bag. And the childcare place knew that that was in there, and when my child was having a specifically bad day, they could bring that photo album out and look through it and talk about the pictures. I would always go over it with a child care worker that had my children on what was in the pictures so that they had something to talk about. That was something that was really important to me, and it made me feel good. Now, whether or not it made her feel good as a teacher, it made me feel good knowing that there was something for my child to view about their family if they were particularly having a rough day. Allow and encourage those transitional or comfort objects. So this is really important that we get with families to know, Is there a special blanket that the child sleeps with? Is there a special stuffy that maybe they need in order to make that transition? Or when I am doing a diaper change, I show the child a diaper and say it's time to change our diaper so that they know visually. Sometimes our younger infants can't recognize an object in a picture, but they can recognize an object that we show. So if we show a diaper, they know that we're going to go for a diaper change. If we show a spoon and a fork, they know that we're going to have a lunchtime. If we bring out our blanket and our stuffy, it's nap time. So we want to make sure that we talk to our families about, are there any transitional comfort objects that they like? Or are there any rituals that maybe the families might use? So a ritual would be like families creating a goodbye ritual. Maybe they sing a song as they're leaving, something like goodbye, Samantha, goodbye, Samantha, goodbye, Samantha. I'll be back after snack or whatever you want to do. But something that they can maybe make that ritual, or they do a hug and a kiss, or they give a high five, something that is the same for that child every day. So that developing those rituals are really important. Maybe a butterfly kiss or something that signals to the child that I'm leaving. And remember, I said, never do we want to sneak out on a child. That is very scary. So we want them to know when we're going to come back, and we want to support moms where their needs are too. I always think about the mom who, is struggling saying goodbye herself. So she does things like, bye, see ya, I'll be back, I'm going to miss you. Who's struggling the most here? It's the mom. So supporting that mom or dad or grandma in that transition as well. So maybe developing those rituals will help separate moms as well. Because sometimes these moms that are dropping off for the first time really struggle that they're having to work or that they're having to go somewhere. So we want to support them where they're at there. And then developing some good goodbye games. I loved where the teacher in the picture with Cody had a great transitional activity where they played a game with dad before he left. And it's a great way to get other children involved too. If there were other kids nearby, then they could have thrown the beanbag toss together and started to build that friendship piece in. So we want to make sure that we're really thinking about how we can make that transition as smooth as possible in that greeting area. Also, maybe creating a book about the child's day. So maybe even have parents participate in that. What's their ritual at home to get ready for school? And then when they come to school, so you're kind of doing a social story with what happened prior to school, what's going to happen during school, and what's going to happen when mom comes and picks us up, so that that little story can be in your library. I love doing those kinds of things as a teacher, making classroom books about families and child that just were in the library. And those were the books that kids would go to most. So just having a transition book about, if a child was upset, you pull out that transition book and talk about what they did before they got to school. And now we're going to do this, and then mom will be back. Something real visual for these young learners. So, because our little ones are very, very young with that. So what about a hello
Real
or
quick,
goodbye song? Go ahead, Hannah.
sorry, we just had a comment in the chat I wanted to share because I love this.
Okay.
I tell the teachers to write down the names of their students and their parents' name on a little cheat sheet. When they see them come in, they can look quick until they learn them. Changes the connection with the parents so quick.
Ooh, I love that idea. Whoever wrote that, that's awesome to help those teachers get used to what the names of the parents and the children are until, so you have that little cheat sheet that you kind of carry around in the morning so you can say, oh, Debbie, thanks for bringing Johnny today. It's so good to see you. Tell me about your morning, and then you have an activity for them to do together. Here are just a couple of songs, a hello and a goodbye song. If you don't have one, these are great ones. I've used them in my classrooms when I taught preschool and infant toddler. And it just starts the day good as kids are walking in. You're just going to sing this song. Now I'm going to ask you guys to sing with me. I can't carry a tune, so hopefully you can. But let's just go ahead, and this one's to Farajaka. So it goes, hello. We'll say hello, Debbie. So we'll go, hello, Debbie.
Debbie.
Hello, Debbie.
Debbie.
How are you?
you? How are you? We are glad to have
Keep
you.
going, keep going. I want to hear
We
you.
are glad to have you here at the school.
Farashaka,
Here at the school.
Farashaka, so we're so glad to have you. We're so glad to have you here at school, right? Woo, thank you for participating, guys. Now, the mulberry bush. So anybody know the tune to the mulberry bush? It goes, this is the way we say goodbye, say goodbye, say goodbye. This is the way we say goodbye at school every day. We give our friends a big high five, a big high five, a big high five. We give our friends a big high five when we say goodbye. So think about how fun this would be. And you may have your own. Does anybody else have ones that they use? Or does someone think, oh, I'm going to use these now? What are your thoughts?
In the chat, someone said that they had a teacher who chanted to nervous children throughout the day, "Mommy's always come back and you are safe." So less of a song, but still something to
Yeah,
repeat
so
to them.
perfect. It's not a song, but it does give us an indication and let kids know that we're happy to see them. We're goodbye, have a great day, give your friends a high five. Think about how good even our youngest, and I'm talking our infants too. There is no reason why we can't be singing our songs to our infants as well. They're not going to sing back to you, but infants have a natural draw to music. They are going to bounce as you sing. They're going to put a smile on their face. So I want you to think about building in, and how good would it make a mom or dad or grandma, grandpa, or whoever's dropping off feel if you were singing a song as they came to school and you said hello to the child and the mom? Think about how wonderful those kids would feel. Anything in the chat, Hannah, about how children, what they might be using in their classrooms?
Yes, there's one comment that just says they have a good morning song with their name in it and that they're so happy to see the kids. And then Megan said, you can sing anything in a sing-song voice and it will be more memorable and engaging for children.
Absolutely. So I want us to embrace that idea of hello songs and a goodbye song. So think about ways that maybe you could support the teachers that you might be in charge of, or if you're a classroom teacher or a coach, how you might support teachers in developing some transition ritual as kids come and go. And that's a great way to start the day off well. So that's awesome. We're going to show another couple of videos. And I want you guys to think about, as you're watching this, what do you see the caregivers doing to make this transition easier? And so think about that, write it in the chat, come off mute. What is this teacher doing to make the transition easier?
Definitely need to wash your cuts of fur off and sanitize it. Take wipe your hands in on it. May. Come on, let's go do that. Are you ready? Janae, I'm about to go sanitize Elias' cuts of fur. So you're gonna have to sit right here and I'll be back, okay? You heard me? I'll be back. Langston, I'll be back, okay? I'll be back, okay? I need you to sit on your bottom.
All right, what did you see the caregiver doing? Even though the kids were clinging to her, like, please don't go, what is she doing to make that transition a little bit easier? How is she building up that knowledge of that I'm going to get up and do something else? What happened? What did you see happen?
In the chat, it's explaining what they are doing and the why and letting them know that they will be back, talking them through what was coming next.
Yeah.
Explain exactly what she was doing.
She explained exactly what she was doing, right? And so right now, these kids are really young and they don't really truly understand, but she's having that nurturing conversation with them. I'll be back. And as she does that more often, the kids are going to start to understand that I'll be back means I'm going to get up, I'm going to come back, right? So we want, because then when a mom leaves and she says, I'll be back, then we are building in that receptive knowledge about what it means that I'll be coming back. And when this teacher comes back, what we hope she'll do is say, I'm back, and make a big deal and give him a hug and tell him, nice waiting or whatever that might be. But think about how building that receptive understanding of transitions, she's explaining what's happening, what's going to happen to better help those children in the end. And if she consistently does that over time, then we're going to start to have better transitions that way.
So we have a question in the chat. How do you
Okay.
coordinate with parents so that verbal interactions and cues are the same at home and at daycare?
So I would just talk to them at drop off. I would say when they're dropping off, what I like to use in my classroom is I'll be back. That would be, and so explain to them that when I am, if we're greeting parents at the door, then those will be the great things that you can say. Ooh, I can see Johnny's really upset. What I use in my classroom when I get up and move is the words, I'll be back, right? So something to that effect. And that's just a real open conversation. Or you can model that for parents by saying, Mommy will be back. Mom, are you going to come back? And mom can say, I'll be back. So that you could model that and just explain to mom that I use that in my classroom as well, so that we build that commonality. It's as simple as that at the drop off, just explaining how you do it in your classroom. Or even asking parents, what do you say when you leave home and you're leaving them with another sitter or with another family member? What do you say? Most common people are going to say, I'll be back before bedtime, or I'll be back before this time. So just being explicit about how you are sharing that information with families and asking families to share with you, right? Because you want to use what they use, as well as encouraging them to use what you use. Anything else in the chat, Hannah?
Nope.
All right. I have one more video. Well, maybe. I have one more video here, and this one is a toddler transition. They're going from playtime to gym time. And I just want you to see, this is going to be a little more hectic because we're dealing with toddlers here. So watch this at the same. I want you to look at it. And how did this transition look different from the infant transition? And what strategies did the teacher use? So here we go.
All right, Miss Sylvie. We're gonna put our book away. Ready? We put our book away. Thank you. You put your book away. Yeah. And we'll go sit by the door so we can go to the gym. Let's go see who's ready. Hey, Miles, will you grab your shoes? Yeah, we're gonna change your shoes so we can run in the gym. Let's get these shoes. Have a seat. And go help Miles with his shoes. Have a seat. I'm gonna sit right here. Thank you, Mason. We're waiting on Sam and Miles. Puppy. Are you taking Puppy? Puppy right here for you, Sam, okay? Slow down, it's slippery. All right, let's see how many friends are gonna go to the gym. Whoa. Can you count? 1 little, 2 little, 3 little friends, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little friends, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little friends, all ready to go to the gym. Put your shoe on first, and then you can go too. I'm gonna tie it first. Tie it. Tie it. Hang on there. Just tie it. Who's gonna help me up? Oh, Joseph, pull me up. You're so good. Let's walk. Are we waiting for other friends to come out of the gym? Oh, let's sit against the wall. We're gonna wait. Nice waiting. Joseph? Does she know we're here? Say, dude, is that Mr. Byshawn? Hi, Sean. Hey, don't worry. Look how nice all my friends are waiting. Good job, busy bees. My friends are waiting so nicely. Let's wave to the cuddle bugs when they walk by. We're gonna wave to the cuddle bugs when they walk by. Oh.
All right, what did you notice there? What was some good strategies that you saw the teachers using? How did it go smoothly? I mean, we're talking littlest of people. How did it go pretty smooth? There was some wait time, but the teachers were truly engaged during that wait time. So what did you see?
Singing to help with transitions.
Yeah, they helped with the transitions, right? The teachers were there. What else? Feel free to come off mute, guys. We're friends now. We've been on this for 45 minutes. What did you see?
They complimented the kids on how good they were waiting.
Ooh, lots of compliments. Yes, that they were waiting. What else did you see?
Like a space for to tell the kids what was coming next. So like where to go when they were ready and they were done, and that was by the door. And they also weren't making them like all sit down. It was like they just had to be in that area. They didn't necessarily have to be sitting or in a line or like doing something that isn't appropriate for toddlers.
Yeah, they weren't doing like crisscross applesauce, everybody's standing soldiers. And I loved that, Liliana. Yes. And thank you for coming off mute. I really appreciate that. So what she did is they sang a little song about getting your backs to the wall. She said, line up by the brown door. They sang a song about backs up against the wall. The other thing I loved is the other kids were leaving the gym. She was developing those friendship skills, right? She was waving and saying hello to the friends. So we're learning about friendship and saying hello and goodbye to our friends. Such an excellent thing. Not all the kids are required to sit. They allowed kids to stand or sit. They reinforced lots of reinforcement of appropriate behavior. They reinforced walking feet. They did a very great job at that. Anything else in the chat, Hannah?
Yes, they gave warnings for everything and used first then. They explained why they were waiting. They talked about what the other class was doing. They interacted with all of the children. The teachers were making sure to wait with them as well, and they were modeling how to wait nicely.
Yes. And I wrote first then down on my paper too. So I loved how she said, first your shoe, and then we're going to go to the gym. So she let that child know, first we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. When we can use that in our infant toddler language, that is going to help with transitions. And even at the book area, she said, we're going to put our book away and then we're going to go to the gym. So she used first, then there. So think about all the ways that you can incorporate first, then statements in your transitions to help support children. You could have had a visual. So some children, I always love to have like a little belt loop, and I'll show you that in a minute, a little belt loop with our routines on it, a retractable keychain that I can show children. First cleanup, then the gym. So if they can visually see that, or you could have an object that indicates that we're going to the gym, that you can give a child to go to the door. We're going to go to the gym. So what in the gym, we're going to play with a ball. So you give a child a ball to drop at the door so that they know they've cleaned up their toy. They get a little ball and they put it near the door in a bucket. That tells them, ooh, first we're putting toys away. Then we're going to drop in the ball in the bucket because we want to go to the gym. By the brown door is a bucket to drop the ball. So think about transitional objects that might indicate that we want a turn. That is a great way, especially with our youngest ones that don't really identify pictures yet, but are learning the names of words. And what I loved about these teachers too, their vocabulary was very simple. Shoes on, then outside. She didn't go into lots of explanation about what they were doing. She kept the communication very simple. And the song that she sang about backs on the wall, very simple. It was telling kids what the expectation was while waiting for the other children to come out of the gym. So that is something that I just truly loved about that video. So think about when you're doing a transition activity, think about how we're going to clean up. What do we do? Do we have our toys labeled so that kids can put things away easily? Have we taught them? It's not good enough to just have a picture of cars on a bucket unless we have dumped out the toys. Where do they go? Here's a picture. And even in some of our younger classrooms, having an object on the front of the box will be easier for them. Like I know if there is a car taped to the outside of the box, that cars go in this bucket. If I have a block that's taped to the outside of the box, then I know for my youngest kids that are just learning about pictures that an object indicates where things are going. So I want you to think about your day. How many transitions do we have in the day, right? Think about that day. How many transitions? Is there a way to eliminate some so that we eliminate that frustration. But also think about the different transitions. Like if I'm going to a diaper change, do I have a picture of a diaper on my belt loop, or do I bring a diaper with me? When we have access to our schedule on our belt loop, it allows children to get a special invitation. So if I have a child who isn't willing to clean up, but I have it on my belt loop and I can go and show them cleanup, or I can model cleanup and support them in cleaning up to get ready for that transition, that's great. Or think of a transition tool. I'm going from this activity to this activity. What can I give the children to put in a bucket at the end or a pocket to show that they made it there, giving them something to do? Reading a book about a transition. When you're ready for nap time, giving them their blanket, their fuzzy, or their their stuffy that they love, and then sitting down and reading a story while you're putting out the cots or getting them ready for nap time, doing a transition song about nap time, reading a story, and then they go to bed. Because remember, we want to calm their bodies down before we send them to nap time. So we don't want to do this running activity and then expect them to go to nap time. We want to do something that brings them up before, and then something that brings them back down before a nap time to help them regulate their bodies. If we're running around and then expect them to go have a nap, we will deserve what we get, because we have now just increased their activity level and they're like, we're having party. We want to bring their self-regulation skills back down to a calm before we put them on their cots for bed. So think about all the different ways that we can make that transition before we go.
So just a comment in the chat from
Okay.
Trevor. Songs are an amazing cue for transitions. I have an amazing video using audio cues with 1-year-olds for a goal completion of getting children to transition from snack to circle. Makes me tear up every time I watch it because of the work the teachers have put in for this goal.
Trevor, you need to share that video with me. I would love to see it. So and Trevor, this brings us right up there. Think about songs relevant to the transition. Trevor is a good example of singing a song about a 1-year-old with 1-year-olds on it making a transition. Any audio cues that you can do, your picture schedules, transition objects, anything that you can think of to support that. Trevor, you need to share that. Thank you for sharing. Songs are huge for sure. We need to share what to expect, what's coming next, providing multiple reminders. So in 3 minutes, in 2 minutes, in 1 minute, even though our youngest of young don't understand the passage of time, we still need to give them indication. So I think about, I used to work with a teacher who worked with infant toddlers who were on the autism spectrum, and they incorporated many different things. They had the belt loop schedule, they did the countdown, the timers, they did a light flicker, and then they counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all done. And it was amazing. In a 3-month period of time, those children knew that routine and they waited for every single one of those steps. So first they said 1 minute, 2 minute, whatever it is. And then they showed them on their belt loop what they were doing. They flickered the light. Then they counted down, and kids knew that routine and were ready to make that transition. And then when kids make that transition, and in that 2-year-old video we watched, the teachers were really good at greeting children individually as they made that transition. Wow, you use great walking feet. Thank you for lining up at the door. Whatever we can use to reinforce those children for making that transition, and then just providing that individual support as we needed. So we've got just a few more minutes. I just want you guys to think about positive feedback after a transition and reinforce children as they come back. It's not as they make that transition. Giving a high five or a good job is not good enough. We really want to say what they did well. So when they make that transition, we want to say, wow, you're making good walking feet. That's being safe, or that's being responsible. We want to give what our expectation is and how our rule is and what that expectation is. So the rule is walking feet. The expectation is that they were responsible or they were safe or something like that. We want to make sure that we explicitly reinforce, I like how you walked quietly to the table. That's being safe. I saw you share with a friend. That's being responsible, or that's being a super friend. We want those transitions to be giving that specific positive feedback after the transition. That good job doesn't really tell a child what they did. It's just a way to, to do an affirmation like great job. But when we use that explicit reinforcer for doing something well to tell them what they did, that's what we want to make sure. So something, for example, Timothy's picking up the toys so that he'll be ready. So we'll be ready for school tomorrow. So he's ready to go home. Whatever it is, letting them know what they're working toward. So here's a couple of examples. Here's what I would do for my belt loop. I would have a retractable keychain with a flip book that would show children what's happening. And why this is important is if a child needs help following the schedule or routine, or just a special invitation, if I have to run all the way back up to the front of the classroom to show them what they're doing next, it's not going to work as well. We've lost the moment. But if I can show them my belt loop and say, oh, it's diaper time or it's nap time, I can individualize it more. And that's what we want to see happen, is individualizing that moment. First then is such a friend. So I hope that you'll use this with infants, with toddlers, with preschoolers, with whoever. First, we're going to do outdoor play, and then we're going to come in and lie down. We're going to read a story, a visual for kids to see. It's not good enough to just have the words, maybe for some children. We might have to actually have the cards with the picture or transitional objects. First, we clean up our toys, then we go outside. Something in your hand that familiarizes them with outside. First, we clean up, and then we have a diaper change. A way for those children to see the object and know what's coming next is something that we could do. So we want to create a visual for every step of the routine. And think about why that's important. We want to pair the picture or the visual with a verbal direction and display them so the children can easily reference them. Those are the 3 keys to success. Like for me, I would just have a first then board at every place in our room with pictures that I could change out, especially at our large group time and our choice time. When they're actually playing, having that first then would indicate and warn them when a transition was going to happen. Countdowning, this is just something that I put in as a sequence. You could have a timer, some sort of timer that flashes when it's got 3 minutes done. You could use a sand timer. I love fingers the very most because I will tell you, in the little classroom that I had with children little kids that were on the autism spectrum, by the time it was 3 months up, they all could put their fingers up and count with us, right? And they're itty bitty kids. And so they're learning that one-to-one correspondence. So we're building in multiple things that they can do by just using our fingers and giving those visual or verbal warnings. Making sure that we label, and I talked a little bit about that when we're doing transitions and cleanup, making sure that we don't have an enormous amount of things on the shelves because that's overwhelming to toddlers. This is just a simple little cubby. They have the items know right where they go. There's pictures to indicate it. You could also use objects for our really young classrooms. And no child is too young to help clean up. So when you have them in your lap and you talk about putting things away, if you have an infant in your lap, if you have a 12 to 15-month-old, they can start to toddle and put things away. 2-year-olds can really put things away by themselves if we've given them and trained them how to do it. So I want you to remember that teaching children to clean up is such a great skill because that's a definition that the transition is over. So when we're thinking about transitions, here's a little cleanup song just to Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. There's so many different ones, but this is just, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Do you guys want to help sing this with me? Let's go. Okay, here we go. Clean up, clean up. Let's see, how does it go? Twinkle, twinkle, sing it. Somebody find the tune for me here. Twinkle, twinkle, so it goes clean up,
Clean up, little star, stop and
clean up
clean up
where you are.
are.
To put the
Put the
toys
toys
away,
away,
we'll
we'll get
them
them out
out
another
another
day.
day. Clean up,
Clean up,
little star.
star,
Stop
stop
and
and
clean up
clean up
where
where
you
you
are.
are.
Woo! You guys are amazing. Thank you for singing with me. So here's another one just to, if you're happy and you know it, put your toys on the shelf, on the shelf. Put your toys on the shelf, on the shelf. Put the toys on the shelf. You can do it by yourself. Put the toys on the shelf, on the shelf. Or put your books and your puzzles on the shelf. Put your books and your puzzles on the shelf. Put them all on the shelf. You can do it by yourself. Put your books and your puzzles on the shelf. So think about any way, and like Trevor said, transition songs make the difference. When we can sing with kids and ring stories with kids about transitions, they're going to go much smoother. All right, this is one last thing, Hannah, and then we'll be done. I want you guys to look at this picture. What do you notice in this picture as children get ready to transition outside? What do you notice? What do you notice about this picture? They're getting ready to transition. What do you notice?
It looks like they have some of the kids have already transitioned over to get some of their coats on. So the kids they have some sort of activity to do while they are getting their coats on one by one to get them to go outside.
Yes, look at this. They are all engaged. They're not waiting, right? They're all engaged in an activity prior to going outside. So the teachers are putting on their coats, they're lining them up, they're getting ready to go outside, and then they make that transition together. There's no wait time here. This is what I want to see in transitions. There's no wait time. The kids are actively engaged as the teachers are helping them put on their coats, right? This is what I want to see happening. All right. How do you guys plan on? What did you learn today? What's something that you are going to try in your classrooms? Go ahead and come off mute. What was an aha moment for you today? You can come off mute or you can type.
I'm just recognizing how many transitions there are, especially for the infants and toddlers, include with those diaper changes. Like I never thought of the diaper changes as being another transition. So that was really eye-opening, and I plan to do some observing to see like where we can either cut back on transitions or eliminate, or and maybe also using some of those that first then language, because I think those would be really helpful.
Good. Anything else coming in the chat, Hannah?
Yes, someone liked the belt loop idea and want to implement that.
Great. It's so good. It works beautifully.
And then also, I love the idea of a parent/teacher made book of a visual routine of the child's day.
Great. Love it. Well, you guys, this has been fun for me. Thank you for participating. I'm happy to be here with you today, and thank you for coming off mute and typing in the chat, making it easier for me. So Hannah, you're on.
Awesome, thank you. And then, Trevor, I think we have a little bit of time if you wanted to pull up that video. I think that would be awesome to share.
Wow, that is about the cutest thing ever. What did you guys notice with that? Trevor, I makes me cry too. Every single one of those kids knew to get up and come to the circle. That's beautiful. I
And the only
love
one
that.
that didn't get up and go to the circle is the one that can't walk by himself yet. So,
I love these guys are 1-year-olds, right, Trevor?
yep.
That is fantastic. I love it. So that is such a great way to use music, and the kids all came. They knew the routine. They were part of that. They knew we were going to have a large group. So Trevor, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Trevor. That was great. And thank you, Debbie, for that presentation. So we are now going to transition into our last half hour, 25 minutes. And we really hope you all stay. But for this, here, let me actually present this. So for this, I don't know if you were here for last time, but we just kind of want to extend out this conversation more and make sure that this isn't just a presentation that you just leave and don't do anything with it. So we would love to go into breakout rooms and just with your breakout groups, discuss a little bit further on this presentation and transition activities and what you're doing in your classroom and things that you want to change and just get ideas from other people in the group. If you want, it'd be great if you could take a minute to introduce yourselves, and if you can, turn off your cameras so everyone can see each other. And then here are just a couple ideas for questions. We'll have 3 groups, Sue, Amy, and Kurt. And some of the questions that you all can discuss could be, how does my program do activity transitions? Which of these are we already doing? Which of these could be helpful to start implementing? What other things are you doing in your classrooms and programs, and what other questions do you have? So with that, we will go into breakout groups until around 2:20, and then we'll come back into big group and share a little bit of what you discussed in the smaller groups.
So Hannah, are you having me facilitate or just take notes?
If you could facilitate, that would be great.
Okay, let me just take a quick shot of this with the questions.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I hope you were able to get to know each other a little bit better and have a good discussion. And just in our last few minutes, I want to go through each of the groups and just have the facilitator share 1 or 2 highlights that you discussed. So I'll start with Sue, and then Amy, and then Kurt's group.
Oh, there I'm off mute. So we had a great group of people, and they shared a couple ideas about using visual schedules, and how well those have worked. And a couple different variations of that. We had Deborah share a drop-off activity where you have a really exciting activity set up so that children will redirect to it really quickly, and they become really anticipatory of like, oh, I'm so excited to go to school because what might they have set up for today? We were talking about ideas that transition from play to quiet time, or snack or lunch to quiet time, when teachers are very busy with putting up cots and wiping up spills and changing diapers. And we were just getting into some ideas from Nadia, and then our time ran out. But anyway, really a real good group to visit with.
Thank you. And then Amy?
Sorry, to get off my mic. Okay, so we talked about, Trevor shared the statement that I loved. He called it the release and catch. And so it was like, that is such a good term for like when one teacher has a child and they release, and then the next teacher there, if you're lucky to be in a classroom with 2 practitioners, the next one is there to catch. So we loved that. We talked about, we were starting to get into how do we coach our teachers into transitions and a gradual transition, and how that can be challenging sometimes. Let me pull up my notes and see what else we talked about. Oh, and then perfecting one transition. Sometimes if you try everything at once, it can be challenging to feel like you've been successful. And so if you break it down and just focus on one, which then goes really well with the practice-based coaching of just a focused observation in one area, that when you can become successful in one, then how does that transfer over to other areas that will help the rest of the transitions to be successful?
Those are awesome. Thank you. And Kurt.
I took notes. One of the things that they talked about that they really liked was the retractable schedule. And I jumped in partway through the session, so I may not have seen that. But it sounds like it's something, and Deb, you can kind of maybe shed some light, but where the schedule is not just in one place where they have to return to that, see what the next item is, but that can be with them as they travel throughout the classroom. And okay, this is what the next activity is. So it kind of helps keep things a little better organized.
Awesome. Yeah, those are all awesome suggestions, and I hope you all learned a lot from today's session. Did anyone have any last comments that they wanted to throw in there? Well, awesome. Thank you so much for coming today. Just a reminder, our next session is on January 27th, sorry. And if you want to review this session, you can go to our website, Utah Pyramid Model, or check out our Canvas page to view all of our past sessions. And we hope you all have happy holidays.